Welcome back, and we are on the last section we're going to cover today, and it is called network hardening, and what it's going to be about is essentially applying some techniques to prevent your system from getting infiltrated. So let's go ahead and get into this. I'm going to go pretty quick through this, because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time, maybe 8 minutes, if that. So first, let's just go ahead and talk about hardening. And so hardening is securing a system by reducing its surface of vulnerabilities, like we just now said. You want to keep a healthy balance between operations and security, and obviously you want your hardware to be good too. Patch management, I think everyone knows what patch management is. Obviously it involves planning, testing, having a lab so you can test it, auditing it, making sure everything's okay, and we're talking big corporations with a lot of computers when we do this. Password policy, I think everyone knows that. It's basically just have capital letters, mix in special characters, and stuff like that. Port security. Having good port security also helps with network hardening. Basically get port locks, disable the ports through the network device. Make sure to have private VLANs, port isolation. Securing SNMP, which means it allows us to easily gather information from our various network devices back to a centralized management server. So that's a good thing about that, and you need to secure it to make sure nobody has access to it. Then we have... Sorry. And then we have an access control list, which basically is probably something you use in a active domain, or... yeah, probably in an active domain, which allows you to block certain stuff like that. Explicit deny means blocks matching traffic. Implicit deny blocks traffic to anything not explicitly specified. Role-based access defines the privileges and responsibilities of administrative users who control firewalls and their ACLs. Then there's wireless security, MAC filtering, wireless client isolation, guest network isolation, PSK, which is basically WEP, WPA2, and WPA3. Geofencing, a virtual fence created within a certain location. And then there's Internet of Things considerations. Understand your endpoint. Track and manage your devices. So meaning, make sure you know where your devices are. Make sure to manage them good. That includes cell phones, laptops, tablets. Patch vulnerabilities. Basically, just make sure that your computers are all patched up. Make sure you got all the drivers. Make sure you got... because that creates vulnerabilities. Make sure to conduct, especially if you're working for a big organization, do a test first, have a lab, and do a test. You can also use virtual machines too to do it too, but it's always good to make a test and make sure you can install the updates and make sure there is no issues that comes with those updates. Change default credentials. Basically, change your username and password. Use encryption protocols, WPA2, WPA3. And segment IoT devices. I can't remember what that means. So, go Google it. Because I honestly can't remember what that means. I know I've seen it, but I can't remember what segment means specifically. So, as a little review, I'm going to talk about what we went over in network hardening. Network hardening is basically well, once I think of it, It's making sure you're applying the things that prevent it from getting hacked, from getting viruses, and all that. We talked about patch management. We talked about password security. We talked about services that we don't need. We talked about port security. Excuse me, sorry. Let's see what else. We talked about policies and stuff, like password policies. We talked about securing SNMP. We talked about the ACL, how we can control an access control list in order to block certain things and ports. We talked about the different wireless security there is. And then we talked about some of the Internet of Things considerations. And for today, that's going to wrap up our session. Obviously, we're going to be studying more on this. We're going to come back to it and study more. But for today, that's going to wrap it up. It was only 6 minutes because I wanted to kind of try to make this one faster. I didn't want to sit here all day and talk about it. So, but we will come back to a few of these. Tomorrow we'll be doing something different, but we may end up coming back to this next week sometime. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.